Harshad sir, you can unmute and start. Harshad sir, please unmute.
Yeah.
Start.
Start now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Good evening, friends. Here in Canada, it is a morning. It is about 5:30 in the morning, but there is a she called me to give. I
Sir, voice is
but
not.
then I took one book of Krishnaji in my hand, by random some page, and the page which came by random was about inward beauty. And I always liked what Krishnaji has said about love, beauty, and life. And these are my favorite topics also. So I will read a little bit from Krishnaji's article, and then we'll speak about what I feel. So the article starts with, and sometime or other experience a great sense of ability to setting sun peaks. But what is the appreciation that we feel, or is beauty a thing apart from perception? If you have good taste in clothes, if you use colors that are nice, if you have dignified manners, if you speak quietly and waits for beauty, does it not? But that is of an inward state. So like a poem you write. So I will stop here and will say something about my own sense that Krishnaji talks about the beauty of nature and the beauty, the outward beauty which we see in nature, in people.
Harshad sir, your voice is breaking, sir.
Children, they don't have the.
Harshad sir, your voice
Oh,
is breaking.
okay.
If you are having problem, then you can stop video and keep only mic open.
I will have to go.
You can stop
Go
the
in the
video
outside
and
room.
continue with the audio only.
Here the Wi-Fi. Okay, okay. Yes. Are you able to hear?
Yes, sir.
Are you able to hear?
Yes, sir.
Are you able to hear my voice?
Yes, voice is coming clear, sir.
Or should I go?
No, voice
Oh,
is
okay,
coming clear.
okay,
Voice
right.
is clear, coming clear.
Okay.
You can continue, sir.
Okay, so should I start from the beginning?
Yes, sir. It is better
Yeah,
that you
okay.
start from the beginning.
Oh, okay. I will start from the beginning. Sorry for the disturbance. Here, maybe the Wi-Fi signal is not very good, so there is some difficulty. But good evening, friends. And when Sushil ji requested me to give a talk, at that time I did not know the topic, but there was a book of Krishnaji in my hand, and when I opened the page on random, the article was about inward beauty. So I like this topic, especially what Krishnaji has said about love, beauty, and life. So I will read a little bit from the Krishnaji's article, and then we'll speak a little bit about what I feel. So this article says, I'm sure we all have sometime or other experienced a great sense of tranquility and beauty coming to us from the green fields, the setting sun, the still waters, or the snow-capped peaks. But what is beauty? Is it merely the appreciation that we feel, or is beauty a thing apart from perception? If you have good taste in clothes, if you have colors that harmonize, if you have dignified manners, if you speak quietly and hold yourself erect, all that makes for beauty, does it not? But that is merely the outward expression of an inward state, like a poem you write or a picture you paint. So here Krishnaji talks about the beauty of nature and the beauty of the clothes. We all human beings like to look good, and Krishnaji also wanted to look good, and he used to wear very beautiful dress. But apart from the outward beauty, there was also the inward beauty, and that inward beauty, it comes from within. And your mind is very silent and there is affection and love, that beauty radiates, and that is what Krishnaji is talking about. And Krishnaji talked about, so I like to express something about a poem which I wrote a long time ago. A friend had sent me a Christmas card, and in that Christmas card, there was a picture of a little girl. She was sitting in a very big chair and she was holding a little doll in her hand, and she was dreaming. And the card said, "May all your dreams come true." So this card, it began to raise some thoughts and feelings in my mind, and at that time I was in Rishi Valley, and in Rishi Valley there were many spiders during the winter time, and these spiders, they make a web uh, from their mouth, and they wait for some insects to catch. And so spiders, they weave a web, but they don't get caught in their own webs. And I thought that our mind is also like a spider, and it weaves a web of thoughts and feelings. So the spider, it looks around and with the spokes. So that also created an image of a spinning wheel. And so some words came to my mind: spokes of mind, turning in wind, weaving a web of thoughts, of pleasures unsought. It means that our mind can create a lot of beauty or happiness or love when it is in a very good state of mind. So some words started coming, a dream, dream, day and night of mountain snow white. So when I was a teacher in Rishi Valley, every holidays, summer holidays, I used to go to Himalayas and enjoyed looking at the beauty of the snow mountain. And one time we had gone from Gangotri to Gomukh, and when between Gangotri and Gomukh, there was a Lal Baba's ashram, and we were taking a rest at the night, and it was a full moon night, and it was all these snow mountains, they were sparkling with light. So it was a real beauty. And at that time, somebody turned on a radio and a song came, Chalo Dildar Chalo, Chand ke Paar Chalo. So it was a really beautiful experience to look at the moon and listen to the beautiful song about moon. And I like to know if my voice is coming all right. Kamleshi,
Yes, sir, your voice is coming clear,
is
sir.
my voice
Voice is
okay?
clear.
Good.
Okay.
So this is about the beauty of the mountains, and they are very beautiful. And similarly, the other words, dream, dream, day and night, of lakes sparkling with light. So there are beautiful lakes in Canada, in New Zealand, in India, in Nepal, and I have seen all this lake, especially when the sunlight falling on it, and and how the water they sparkle like diamonds. So there's a beauty of lakes, and then the birds dream, dream day and night of a kite effortless flight. So sometime when you look at in the sky, few days ago, I was looking at the sky and I saw the kites flying very beautifully without any effort. So that reminded me of Krishna, what Krishna ji said, the eagle in his flight does not leave a mark, but the scientist does. So what Krishnaji meant by eagle is a person who is like a mystic and who is very happy, very harmonious, and he doesn't make any assumption, no illusion involved, and lives a very beautiful, happy life. So dream, dream day and night of kite's effortless flight, then dream, dream day and night of flowers blue and white. So there are beautiful flowers. Yesterday, I had gone to Beacon Park here in Victoria, and because it is springtime, all the trees were full of flowers, very colorful flowers, and flowers are very beautiful to look at. And dream, dream day and night of child's face bright. So children, when they smile, you feel very happy. So happiness comes from children and nature. I remember one day when I was driving a car many years ago in Canada, and when the red light came, I stopped my car, and then there was another lane, and another lady stopped her car, and there was a little child. We looked at each other, and the child smiled, and I felt very happy because a child smiles without any reason, and such a smile it makes us very happy. And so on, it goes on like this poem. And finally, dream day and night of Buddha's clear insight. So what Buddha saw when he got enlightened on the day, it was early in the morning, and when he opened his eyes from meditation and he looked at the morning star, and the star looked very, very beautiful. So something had happened in the body and the brain of Buddha, and some kind of transformation had happened. And so that star appeared as if he was seeing it for the first time. So when such a state happens, something new happens in our brain, our body, then it affects the way we look at everything. And so there is a great beauty around us and within us. And probably it is the inward beauty which reflects in the beauty which we see outside. When I was young child, I had not even gone to school. We had a garden around our house, and beautiful rose flower used to bloom. And it was wonderful to look at the rose flower, and there is a dewdrop in the early morning, and the sunlight falling on the dewdrop, and the light reflecting and entering in my eyes. The dewdrop looked like a diamond, shining diamond, and it was wonderful. And they were changing colors. So children generally look at everything with a great curiosity, and they look at everything very beautiful because their mind is very fresh and very innocent. But when we go to school, college, university, and we acquire a lot of knowledge, and our mind gets filled with many problems of daily life and thinking too much, then we lose that sense of beauty. And I also lost that kind of beauty which I saw in my childhood. But in 1972, when I came across a book of Krishnaji, and he was talking about the problems which are going on in our mind, and whether we can look at very clearly at our own thoughts and see how the thoughts are creating problems for us. So after reading Krishnamurti's books, I begin to observe my own self, and I could see how I was creating problem for myself by unnecessary thinking about the past or the future. And so the mind began to become slow down, and then some changes begin to happen in my body and brain. And then I begin to look at nature, and everything around me on the campus was very beautiful. But because I was occupied with too much thinking, I was not able to look at the beauty of the lake. We had a lake and the swan moving very gently in the lake. So there is beauty around us, even in the city. Sometimes you can see the trees and the flowers and the children But if we are not aware of what is going on, then there is no beauty and life becomes very dull and mechanical life. So um, some people say that beauty is in the eyes of the beholder. That means it is a subjective. You see something very beautiful, but other people don't see it very beautiful because everybody has a different state of mind. And so looking is not very clear. And some people see non-verbally and they see it very beautiful. But Krishnaji says beauty is when the beholder is not. That means when you don't have the sense of I or me, and your mind is very silent, and you look at the tree or the face of a person without any thoughts, then it looks very, very clear, very beautiful as it is. So that is why Krishnaji was asking this question, that how do you look at the tree or the face of your friend? Because by asking this question, Krishnaji was saying that there is a different way of looking, a different way of listening, a different way of learning. And that is what real education is, that we um, learn, look, listen in a very fresh way and not gather too much knowledge and ideas and talk verbally, but non-verbally we can look. And in that there is a great beauty. And beauty, Krishnaji described. I will read a little bit from Krishnaji now. You can look at the green field reflected in river and experience no sense of beauty. Just pass it by. If, like the fisherman, you see every day the swallows flying low over the water, it probably means very little to you. But if you are aware of the extraordinary beauty of something like that, what is it that happens within you and makes you say, how very beautiful? So here, what Krishnaji is saying, that when we get used to even the beautiful places, then we no longer see beauty. Like many people, when they come to Rishi Valley School, they are coming from the city and they come for the first time and they see the beauty of Rishi Valley, the silence, and they say, oh, how wonderful. And similarly, Sayadri School and Valley School, they are all very beautiful places Krishnaji has selected. And but student and teachers who live there every day, and then they get used to the beauty, then they no longer look at the tree or the birds, and they are so much occupied with the subjects they have to study or the teacher what they have to teach. So we lose the sense of beauty when we get used to our surrounding and even to people whom with whom we live and talk. So what happens, that some images are formed uh, in our mind, and through that image which we look at our friends or our relatives, then we really don't see a real freshness, newness. So Krishna ji here talking about not getting used to the beauty around us and keeping our mind very fresh and new. I will read a little bit again from Krishna ji. There is the beauty of outward form, tasteful clothes, nice pictures, attractive furniture, or no furniture at all, with bare, well proportioned walls, windows that are perfect in shape, and so on. I am not talking merely of that, that means outward beauty, but of what goes in to make this inward beauty. So Krishna ji gives a lot of importance to the beauty and how does that beauty come in our life. And only I think it can come when we begin to be aware of what is happening within our own mind, and the mind slows down, and then maybe there is a silence. So that is surely, again, I will read a little bit. Surely, to have this inward beauty, there must be complete abandonment, the sense of not being held, of no restraint, no defense, no resistance, but abandonment becomes chaotic if there is no austerity with it. So here Krishna ji talks about the simplicity or the austerity of our daily life. He is not talking about not having enough food or having very cheap clothes, but the simplicity of the mind, innocence, and not hiding anything, speaking very clearly and with confidence. So that is what Krishna ji means by simplicity, inward simplicity. So he talks about austerity, and then later on he says beauty obviously includes beauty of form, but without inward beauty, the mere sensual appreciation of beauty of form leads to degradation, disintegration. So here I will say that many actresses and actors who act in the film, they have a beautiful body, and they have a talent, and they become very famous. But many of them, they have an ego, the sense of that I am the best. And then as they grow older, then slowly their beauty deteriorates and they don't no longer remain very active. Their mind, their brain begins to deteriorate. I will just give an example of one actor like Dilip Kumar. He was very handsome when he was young, even in his old age, but later on, something went wrong with his brain, and he was not even able to recognize people. And he was just like living like a vegetable life. So, if we don't live rightly with freedom, then as we grow older, our beauty of the form, the body deteriorates. But if we have lived a good life, without pride or jealousy or fear or loneliness or boredom, then that inward beauty remains with us. And that is the way Krishnamurti lived even when he grew old, even at the age of 90, he looked very alert and very beautiful. And it was the inward beauty. So I think I have spoken enough now, and you may not like to listen too much, and you may have your own ideas what you feel about the outward beauty and the inward beauty. So I will stop here, and Dinesh ji would like to talk about beauty. Yes, Dinesh ji, yes, you can ask. You can speak. Yes, Dinesh ji.
Are you able to listen to me, sir?
Yes, yes.
First of all, I would like to say that Harshad sir has talked very good about the beauty, and he has touched many practical aspects of the beauty, what Krishnamurti meant. He has given importance to the silent observation, and also he has touched upon sensitivity. Whatever he was talking, what I understood is he was meaning to see the things with without any thought and with sensitivity. Anyway, as far as I am concerned, I would like to, as usual, like to speak about the things in a different way. Inward beauty. Today's topic is inward beauty. We all know the meaning of inward. Now, what is beauty? Before discussing this, let us understand what JK has to say about beauty. Many aspects Harshad sir has already covered, so there might be some repetition. According to JK, to see beauty, first there has to be order inside, and only religious mind can bring that in. What is religious mind? Religious mind is that which understands the whole structure of conflict and disorder. Inwardly, psychologically, we are in contradiction, conflict. We are brutal and violent people. Each one of us is seeing his own personal and family security. This is very important. Each one of us is seeing his own personal and family security. We are frightened of life and death. So one has to go for self-knowing and self-knowledge and see the truth. To inquire into beauty, one must have humility. This is point number one. He should have humility. As Harshad sir was also pointing out about egos of the heroes. So to inquire into beauty, one must have humility, passion, and sensitivity. These three are very important points: humility, passion, and sensitivity. This passion is not lust or worldly. It comes out of the sorrow. When you remain with the sorrow, the passion comes. That is what Krishnamurti is indicating. Action, sorrow, passion, and beauty go together. Inward freedom, love, goodness, and beauty are one. Now what he says, inward freedom, love, goodness, and beauty are one. Without love, there is no beauty. Without love, there is no order. Order can be brought about first within oneself, and then there will be order outwardly. So first one has to be orderly inside, and then only that order will reflect outward. What he says further. So in nutshell, JK is saying, according to this is my understanding, that the inward beauty will be there when self is not. It's very clear. As far as I am concerned, that when self is not, inner beauty will be there. Now, what sort of beauty he is talking of? The man-made articles, paintings, music compositions, etc. are not beauty. But if you see a tree, its configuration, without naming and terming, and or thought coming into picture, then you can see its beauty. It does not consider any creation with fragmentation and division. This is what I think. JK is considering either outward natural creation as beauty or the psychological freedom with love, passion, and ecstasy as beauty. In general, as per JK, beauty is when self is not. We have already discussed this. However, now I would like to express my views. However, my views are JK has considered only two extremes as beauty. That when freedom is there, love is there, and self is not, then there will be beauty. So either this is the beauty or there is no beauty. But this is what should be and not what is, as far as I am concerned. This also automatically means that when violence, greed, fear, competition, ambition, aggressiveness, etc. are denied, then the love comes into forefront. Is many times talked about love. So we should also consider, this is what my feeling is, the shades in between the polarities of beauty or no beauty, means fragmented love or love with division. Otherwise also, when one is considering beauty of tree, this is very important. Otherwise also, when one is considering beauty of tree or a separate creation of nature, say ugliness, when you say, see how beautifully ugliness has been created by nature, etc. You are talking of fragmented beauty only. When I say I see the beauty of a tree, or I say that ugliness is the beauty, how beautifully ugliness has been created. But here also I am talking of fragmented beauty only. So we can expect fragmented inward beauty when self starts getting dissolved or becomes diluted. So when we can talk of tree, or when we can talk of ugliness, or we can talk of other creations which JK has considered, those are all, if you see in totality, they are also fragmented or division. So when we can consider that as a beauty, we can also consider other human love in between the humans and all that. That also we can consider as shades of the beauty. It is not the total beauty, but we can consider partial beauty. That there should not be any objection to that. That's what I think. At present, I want to submit dispatch only. Thank you. Then we will see. Thank you.
Harshad sir, do you want to comment?
Me comment? No, he has not asked any question, but I would say that suffering we all go through in our life, problems we all have. Is my voice coming?
Yes, clear, sir.
Coming, sir,
Yeah.
coming.
Yeah, okay. So we all go through problems in life, but some people who are sensitive and curious, they would like to know what is behind this suffering, from where does it come? Because most of the time, we are creating the suffering because we don't know how our mind is working, and we blame other people, maybe family or friends or circumstances. But people, when they go through sorrow, suffering, and is coming, then there is a possibility of freedom from suffering, and then there is a possibility of being free from, and there is a happiness So there is one sentence where I read somewhere that I want happiness. If you remove I, that means this ego, then want will go. So I, with I, want also disappears and only happiness remains. And that is really same as beauty, because when you are happy, there is no ugliness. And you would like other people to be happy too. They create unhappiness. They create unhappiness for So Dinesh ji talked about suffering, but there is the possibility of understanding coming cause or the it and becoming free. And that is what Buddhism also says, that there is suffering, there is a cause for suffering, there is an understanding of it, and there is a freedom from it. So when there is a real freedom comes, freedom from and it is also love, because Krishna ji says love is when the self is not. And similarly, love is when the beholder is not. When there is, I felt when I met Krishna ji for the first time in 1977 in Ohio, I felt that he had no sense. He was just looking. He had no mind, and my mind also stopped. And then I really understood that there is a different way of looking at a human being or a tree. And that is why he was asking, how do you look at a tree? Because there is a clarity, the
Your voice is
come to
breaking.
that. Okay, I have let other people talk about now. Yes.
Can I say something here?
Yes.
Can I say
Kamlesh,
something?
Yes, yes, go on. Go on. What you want
who
to
would
say,
like to
Dinesh?
speak?
Dinesh ji wanted to say something. So,
It is very interesting that even our tradition has also discussed this thing. And in traditional, particularly Tantra has discussed this thing. And Shankaracharya has also written a book, or he has, means, there is a book from Shankaracharya which says Saundarya Lahari and Ananda Lahari. So when the man touches that timeless dimension, then his total outlook changes. This classical tantra also says at one stage when you have undergone through suffering and you started looking at the things, then there is a Vismayo Yoga Bhumika. Means you started doing Vismay. Vismay means you are astonished about everything. You start looking very curiously at each thing, that how beautifully that thing has been made. Suppose we talk of any dirt, or we talk of any say trash. That trash has also been so beautifully made in by nature. When we say trash, it is a very beautiful thing if we see with those eyes. So everything is beauty. Tantra says that everything is beauty only. Only when you man is caught up in the self, and he is ignorant, then only he moves in between the polarity, and he sees that this is not this is beauty and that is ugliness and all that. So when man has become somewhat aware, then he starts seeing the beauty around himself. Thank you.
anybody else wants to speak? Verma ji? Do you want to speak?
So friends, there is enough time now. And the topic is very beautiful, but we don't see beauty in silence. Although we talk about silence, silent mind as a beautiful mind, right? Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible, sir.
Okay. So when I first, how I got this topic, inner beauty. When one hears the word inner, the word outer appears in the mind, that disrupts the beauty of the silent mind, a beautiful mind. This happens to all of us who are familiar with the language and its impact on the mind. Krishnamurti described it as one wave only. If I talk about or listen to the word inner, a movement is triggered as a natural cause of fragmentation. In my mind, a process that depletes energy. So this was my observation, personal view about how I take these things which have a polarity standing like a other side of the coin. Then I will read out from the same book Harshad ji was talking about, something which I found is the essence of what JK was trying to say. I will read out. There is inward beauty only when you feel real love for people and for all the things of the earth. And with that love, there comes a tremendous sense of consideration, watchfulness, patience. You may have perfect technique as a singer or a poet. You may know how to paint or put words together, but without this creative beauty inside, your talent will have very little significance. So he has talked about very clearly abandonment of self. So Dinesh has also talked about freedom from the self is beauty. When we say, Harshad ji was just pointing out something, when I is removed, only happiness remains. Of course, it is again very debatable who removes the I and who is listener. And that is the thing. When observer is not there, nothing is there. As when Einstein was having a dialogue with Rabindranath Tagore, so this observer, this point was raised, and the mystic poet was very clear. If I am not there, there is nothing. There is absolutely nothing. Anyway, so this is one thing. As a question to Harshad ji, whether in mind with inner beauty, there is any movement to see things as they are around, any movement in the mind in such a beautiful and inner beauty, whether such a mind has also movements to see like others, or it is just like things are appearing in his mind, not bothering, passive, something like passive seeing or something like you can say. I am only imagining a situation like this, but this is this is really a difficult proposition when we try to understand things. So Harshad ji, please, you may
Yeah, yeah. It is not about understanding. It is about seeing. And seeing is non-verbal. When it is non-verbal, your mind is not thinking, then everything looks very fresh, as if you are seeing it for the first time. Like if you have not seen kangaroo, that how it jumps, and you see for the first time, you find something strange, So similarly, when our mind is not thinking and just looking, it looks very, very beautiful. The word we use, but when the mind is silent, there is a different way of looking, very clear, very fresh, very new. And you don't get tired at all in just looking. Are you able to hear my voice?
Yes.
Are you able,
Yes.
Pradeep ji? Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes.
So,
Yes.
so when it becomes real to you, then there is no understanding about it. What is beauty and all this is using words, because otherwise you cannot, children, student, and they are very young, and he has to use the language, and he uses very beautifully. And the words are coming from the inner beauty, inner clarity, inner happiness. All this which we use, creativity, they are words, they look different, but the source is within us, and that is a freedom from the self. That makes our life very effortless, and we don't create many problems for ourselves. And if there is any problem comes, we immediately see it, and that seeing dissolves the problem. So the perception, insight, again, these are words, but behind the word there is something. And that something one has to catch non-verbally, unconsciously, with our conscious mind, when we
Voice is breaking, Harshad sir. Harshad sir, your voice is breaking. Voice is not coming. Pradeep ji, are you able to listen to Harshad sir?
It was a broken language. It was this thing sound. It was breaking. It was
Harshad
not
sir,
very
you can
clear.
stop your video and you can continue with your audio.
It was audio interruption.
Harshad sir is not there. Harshad sir, Pradeep sir, do you wanted to say something to Harshad sir or?
Harshad ji only. Harshad ji only.
He is not there. He has left. He
Okay.
is not there.
Okay. Okay.
So, shall we listen to Dinesh ji?
Dinesh ji,
Harshad sir is not there.
Dinesh.
Sushil ji, you are muted, sir. Sushil ji, your mic is not on.
Ab it is on.
Yes, sir, yes.
दिनेश का भी unmute करा.
Now again it is off. Your mic is off, Sushil ji.
दिनेश जी का ऑन कर दो.
उनको ऑन करते हैं.
दिनेश को.
Can I speak something now?
Sure, sure.
Yes,
You
yes.
are able to listen to me?
Yes.
This is a very interesting question you have raised, Pradeep sir. And time and again, this has been asked. When we say that observer, observe and all other things, actually, if observer gets dissolved, then who is the entity? Who is the entity which gets changed? Or who makes the transformation possible? So this is very interesting question. First aspect already Harshad sir has touched, that if you start seeing without any interruption of thought and with choiceless awareness and all that, then things are different and you are able to see the different kind of beauty when you see to a tree or when you see to the other humans and all that. But in mind, he says that understanding is not required. But my perception or my views are, what happens basically, this all phenomena is around self. And why self has been created at the first stage? Because of your ignorance. So when we say ignorance, it automatically means that understanding is not there of the totality or the deeper reality, and wisdom is not there. So even Krishnamurti touched this point that after first understanding will be there, first intellectual, then it's a deeper understanding will be there, and then will be one goes for the wisdom, and daughter of wisdom is intelligence. So one has to understand that instead of I, which is ignorant and all that, now wisdom will take its place. Or in other words, JK's words, man will go towards transformation. He, of course, he says that will be instantaneous. Whereas nothing has happened with me or my experience, very few things have happened instantaneously. So, of course, there is a change in understanding, there is a change in total outlook, or wisdom has also come at many matters and all that. So wisdom will take place. In a nutshell, we can say that wisdom will take place instead of I. And even if we study the Buddha's eightfold path, at the end also he says that wisdom will come. Even in the Patanjali Yoga Sutra, he says wisdom will come. So wisdom will take place instead of I. And that wisdom will automatically having the inner understanding of the inner reality. And what your question was, that who will be there, whether there will be only things happening or who will see the beauty and all that. So that wisdom will automatically be aware of every beauty, every this thing, and still I will not be there. This is what my submission is. Thank you.
Harshad ji, Harshad ji has come.
Harshad ji has come.
Yes, I am back now. The internet was not coming in my room. Yeah.
Now it is there.
You can continue with your audio only by stopping your video.
Okay.
There is problem.
Now
video is a problem.
Very clear.
Yeah.
Very clear. Very clear.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
My question is, what I feel is that observer, because it has been defined by JK as something, it is always with the past. But I feel that observer may not be always with the past. The things are changing. Everything is in a flux. Everything is changing moment to moment. So there cannot be the same thing with the same observer. When I go out, it is always something new. But man has a tendency to look for the meaning for everything, every image, what it means. And then he goes back to his past, whether similar thing has happened in the past also or not. So observer can be without it. Actually, it is always without past momentarily, but suddenly it gets colored with the past memories. It may, but it may not also. It may be so amazing, it may be so exciting that even a lot of time has gone and you are not able to move your eyes from that particular scene. There is no question of past interrupting in that. It is so, you get obsessed with that so much. You see, there is no question of past coming in and disturbing that. So observer need not be always with the past and always a very different vision. It always that freshness, that newness you can enjoy, all of us can enjoy, provided we are not cluttered with these words, whether it is past or present or something like that. So this is the thing. Usually it is always new, it is always fresh. And this, of course, is related to sensitivity, my sensitivity. That is natural in all of us, some degree or the other, or something or the other, or someone or the other. There is a variation in that, but sensitivity has to be there, you see, to get the flavor, the best of that moment. This is what I feel. We need not say that it is always with the observer is there, for everything is finished. No, nothing of this sort. Only in discussion, for discussions we discuss these things and spoil the moment. We are doing at the cost of moment that is passing every moment. Thank you very much. Harshad ji, anything to say? Please, welcome.
No, I have said enough, so I don't have much to say. The whole thing is non-verbal, actually, but we are using lots of words only when we begin to see clearly everything what is happening within us. Then the mind stops, and then there is a real beauty which we can feel around us. So I don't have much to say, but any other participant would like to make any comments, you are welcome.
Can I make any comment?
And my internet is not very good here. And one person who is staying here, he is getting disturbed by my voice, So I will not speak much.
So hand over it to Waghmare, sir. Please hand over it to Waghmare now.
Yeah, Waghmare, yes.
Pradeep sir, my experience and
let it be hand over to Waghmare. You can take rest,
Yeah.
sir. Sir, please
Right.
don't disturb the fellow person. You take rest.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Waghmare and then Pradeep, and then it ends. Two comments, one comment from Waghmare, one comment from Pradeep, and the matter ends. Okay? Is it clear to you, Modak? Is it clear to you?
It is clear to me.
I think if anybody else can also say, if he wants to say.
No, Waghmare. Waghmare, you are not working as a coordinator. Please mind it. If I order you to say, you have to follow it.
Authority is coming into picture.
Otherwise, I will end it here now.
Okay.
So,
what I wanted to say.
Yeah, please.
See, after working on the self-knowing and self-knowledge, as far as my experience goes, your mind becomes a little bit alert and with attention. You start remaining in attention. And at that time, if you see the observer and this all discussion, observed things and all the other discussion, the wisdom which starts coming, it can remain in all the instants simultaneously. So you are the mind is so alert that it can does whatever the homework he has to do in the moment for giving you the data and all that and this thing. It does very fast. It does very quick. So seeing is doing. At that level, the time reduces, and practically what Krishnamurti says, seeing is doing. That thing happens. So normally what we work, how we work, we see a situation, then we think over it, and then we take a decision and act. But in this case, what happens? You see the things, and already you are having, you can go for the action. That is what my experience is. Yes, Pradeep sir.
Thank you.
Hmm.
Thank you. Pradeep ji, please make a comment, last comment, and we will end it.
Hmm.
Please make a last comment.
What I feel when everybody is saying that when self is not there, there is beauty. When observer is not there, there is beauty and love. But these two words, love and beauty, or you can use any other word, when the self is not there, when the person who has some meaning to and these things, to, even for the beauty, when we call beauty, there is something, there is a exchange between the seen and the seer. There is some sort of continuity. Even for when you say I'm communing, when I is there, there is no question of communing because I is disturbing the communing. So when real communing is there, when seeing is there, then even that word beauty may not be there at all, or ugliness, and no word will be there. It's a non-verbal. He has already said, Harshad ji, it's a non-verbal communication, and is it sort of, he's talking about the communion when everything becomes one. And that although I'm imagining all this in my mind, imagining something like synthesis, you see, thesis, antithesis and synthesis. It's going on dialectical in my mind. But this is what I feel, that even to say that this is beauty, only beauty remains, mind comes in, immediately jumps in and say, yes, only beauty will remain when this happens. So this is what I feel. It is to understand, this is an explanation. When observer is not there, love is. When observer is not there, beauty is there. But this thing is a part of, this is narration from the mind. This is the observation of the mind or imagination of the mind. That may give good feeling right now, even imagining that gives you a good feeling. So it is easy to say these things, but what happens is a continuity, things are happening, and we are in between. Once we separate out, we start talking. Without that, I cannot talk and communicate to so-called other as myself and something like that. So there is no end to these things. Thank you very much. I have taken some time.
Thank you, Pradeep. Thank you. Next Sunday, we will have Dr. Rao at 11 a.m. Uniqueness of man and teaching.
Gajanan Rao ji, is it Gajanan? Gajanan Rao?
Yeah, Gajanan Rao.
Dr.
The
Saab.
uniqueness of man and teachings.
Teaching.
Uniqueness of man and teachings.
JK's uniqueness of teaching and as a man.
Man.
Thank you very much, Sushil ji. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, all the friends.
Thank you, everybody.
Special thanks to Waghmare. And Modak, please end it. Modak, please end it.
You owe a coffee to him.
Sir.
Modak, please end it.
Thank you, sir. So nice of you. So nice of you.
Modak,